of us. Wham, wham, whammity wham. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to wham ourselves into oblivion with issue 11 of Warhammer Monthly. As always, I am Adam, and joining me as we wham ourselves blind is Andy Turnbull. Sorry, I said your name weird there. Andy Turnbull.
Well, given you were whamming yourself out your nut, I'll let it pass. Just this once.
Whamming live on air.
Yeah, keep your hands on the screen so I can see them all the time. I don't see the whamming.
We're going, we don't need hands to wham.
Hands-free whamming. All right. Look for that on my Pornhub page soon enough, guys. And else.
Coming soon to OnlyFans. Hand-free whamming.
To be fair, it would be only whams.
Only wham. That's the name of, if we ever do a specialist Patreon episode of this, it's going to be called Only Whams.
I've always wanted someone, you know how there's always knockoffs of stuff. It's like, people should lean into all the things like, why isn't there a community for cake baking called OnlyFlans? Why do we not have people talking about cured meat on Only Hams? Why are we not talking about the twin evils of horrible junk mail and canned meat on Only Spam?
Because all you'd get there is Monty Python fans who haven't changed their sense of humour in 30 years. And you just get people singing the Spam song. That's why.
But again, we would contain these people.
No, yeah.
That's the whole point. It's like divert and contain. But yeah, let's lean into it. Let's get more. Just go and ruin Adam's inbox at thefluffandhammer@gmail.com with your take.
It's just fluffandhammer@gmail.com. Yep.
We have fluffandhammer@gmail.com with your only whatever, and
we will read them out in the next episode.
I wish to be it was like it just reminds me of a conversation in the car with a friend about wrestling. We were going back, and there's the wrestler Kane, horrible human being, decent wrestler today, but you now have all the various versions of Kane.
Yes.
And we spent our journey working our way through a Kane-only pay-per-view using variants of Kane.
Mm-hmm.
The Isaac Yankem Kane mashup, Nova Kane. the Shane Helms Kane mashup, the Hurricane.
Yep.
We kept going all the way through. The unfortunate 70s blaxploitation one that can never be shown, Sugarcane. We went through and we managed to work out you could have got a classic 4-hour WrestleMania length pay-per-view with matches just with wrestlers based on Kane.
Well, considering that the WCW did an entire NWO pay-per-view in Sold Out, where NWO members won every match.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. I love Sold Out. It is it's a travesty, but it's fascinating to watch them try something.
Yeah. But yeah, give us your OnlyFans, only flans, only spam, only whams.
So, OnlyFans isn't just porn.
This is the bit where Adam pretends he doesn't know what it is.
No. I know exactly what OnlyFans is because I did a lot of research into OnlyFans about a year ago, 18 months ago. Because
is that research? Should I be putting the fingers up in inverted commas right now for the audience?
Yeah. I just want you to know my hands are on screen. You can see me.
I can verify he is keeping his hands on camera right now.
Hands-free whamming happening right now. But OnlyFans, you could, because it's not just for porn. It's just that's what it got used for, porn and feet pics. So you could make an OnlyFans for cakes or for baking or for cooking food because that's what it was built to be. And the reason I was looking into it is that there was a point about 2 years ago where the only two British companies post-Brexit that were making actual profit were Games Workshop and OnlyFans.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's why I was looking into it.
Got you, Adam. And why are you still looking into it 2 years later?
I cannot even discuss what I'm researching right now because it will incriminate me in a court of law.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anyone had that on their bingo card for what's the intro going to be this week before we get talking about the comic itself. But
well, who knows where we're ever going to end up. It's all good. Welcome, Andy. Welcome, by the way, to January 1999. We are a year away from the turn of the millennium.
Good Lord, yes. Hellishly into Y2K fever. Oh, the panic ramps up. I'm trying to think, where was I? I was just finishing my degree because I did a year's placement and it was 6 months to get your degree, then a year after that for your honours. So what I will say is that we look back and laugh about Y2K because it didn't actually happen in terms of worst case scenario, but that's not to say it wasn't going to happen. It absolutely was. There was a lot of work done to do it, and it kind of does get lost in the shuffle now as kind of a joke, meme, and kind of thing. But no, Y2K was actually deadly serious at the time.
Yeah, it was a big problem. They started working to fix it around about 1996 or so. You know, some people even before that, because the realization that this could have long-reaching ramifications very, very quickly.
Yeah,
stuff that you couldn't just fix on a dime after it had happened. It was a genuine concern.
Yeah, and it was a thing. It was just inescapable in terms of everyone knew about it.
Yeah,
in a way that probably the first time that any sort of real sort of computer/tech thing invaded the public consciousness to such a degree.
Big time. I mean, all you had really before that was the Jennifer Aniston and Matthew Perry turning up on various videos to tell you about Windows 95. Yeah, that's the difference. That's the level of penetration that was happening between then and 1999. Yeah.
Again, because you still have a nascent internet. I mean, broadband, kind of a thing in some places, but not a lot. You're still effectively 56k for most folk. And to be fair, it wasn't even really broadband, it would be ISDN lines.
Yes.
God, show the age. Don't think I've said the ISDN line in about a decade.
Well, at this point, we're talking, I'm trying to remember now, it was less than half the population of the country was online.
Yeah, I wasn't online. The only time I was online when I was in the uni labs.
Yes, same.
Yeah, I had a computer phone, but wasn't connected to the internet. I did have a mobile phone at this point that was the size of a small brick. We'd still put it in the back pocket.
Yep, the old Nokias. Yeah, because 99 would be the flip phones are starting to happen.
The Matrix is coming.
Yep. Oh my God, we're January 1999. We're in a pre-Matrix world. Ooh.
We are also on the countdown to one of the biggest pop culture phenomenon / disappointment. Depending on perspective of the Phantom Menace, is only 6 months away.
True. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to put my big flag down and I'm going to say the following sentence: The Phantom Menace is better than the Matrix.
I will stand with you with that flag, because The Matrix is one of the few films I really wanted to walk out of.
Yep, I did, because I was pissed off.
I was just bored. It was like, I get what you're doing here, but I've seen this. I've seen all of this before. I've read all this before. There isn't anything that's original or new in this. You've just assembled it well, and I'll give them their due that it was well put together.
Yeah.
And hence why it landed and connected. So we were talking just before we got off air about certain things being successful, whether you like them or not. We were talking about things like Pan's Labyrinth. Adam and I have the similar opinion that the fantastical elements of Pan's Labyrinth are not all that interesting because we've seen it before in the likes of Nightbreed, the works of Clive Barker, even Mirror Mask.
Yeah, completely.
What I argue is that between that and the sort of the real world, the fascist elements that were in terms of the young girl's adventure / surviving the evil Spanish fascists.
Yes,
those were more interesting us, but the juxtaposition between the two of those was more palatable, more successful, made it more successful in bringing those fantastical elements to the random ridiculous than either Mirror Mask or
Nightbreed. Yeah, 100%.
So it's not always good. Things don't always become mainstream, and mainstream things aren't always good.
No.
Always
I always remember being in the pub and all of my friends, like literally every single person I knew, telling me that The Matrix was this incredible film. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen, and I needed to go see it. So, right, fine. I went to see it because at this point, and I'll put my hand up and say I was wrong. At this point, I was firmly in the Keanu Reeves is shit. I was wrong. Keanu Reeves just had a way of acting that I was too young to understand.
well, no, you are actually correct. Keanu Reeves cannot act.
No,
but if you put him in the right role, he will succeed. Absolutely,
he was great in John Wick. There's a film where he's like a proper lecherous landlord, which he's amazing in. I can't remember the name of it now.
Oh, I remember. I know the one you're talking about. Yes, and obviously Bill and Ted goes without question.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, he is. Aye.
But so I went in to see The Matrix, and got about halfway through it, and all I could think of is I've seen this story in Sonic the Comic, so it can't be that original.
Yeah.
So I walked out, and it took me another 2 years to see the rest of the film. And I remember going to Leeds one year. I don't think I was working Leeds. I think it was going as an actual paying person rather than somebody who was going as a member of the staff and getting to see Metallica for free, which was great. And they showed The Matrix 2. And my mate Ross was like, oh man, it is so good. And I sat there and all I could think of was, in my tent, I have exactly 40 beers. That might be enough to get me through this.
So we'll cycle back to the comic now. Otherwise, we could rant about cinematic disappointments all day.
So, I will say before we move on, though, that is the year that Guns N' Roses played Leeds. They were half an hour late, and it was still less disappointing than The Matrix 2.
Well, I said about The Matrix 2, or the better. So we're into a brand new year, and so we're kicking off a new year with a new story and a very big competition.
Yes, win original artwork. We're giving away every piece of artwork in this issue.
The creator in me is going, I hope you paid more for the installments of those.
Mm-hmm.
That's work for hire, and the work should be returned to them.
Yeah.
If not,
I mean, my guess was they were giving away copies of the art.
No, we don't. Sadly, because the scan doesn't have the actual competition details.
No,
that's I'd be getting very salty about that, because it's a way for all comic artists they'll keep some pieces, but it is a way for them to supplement their income by selling on original pages.
Of course.
But it'd be cool to win some of the stuff, particularly as, again, Simon Harrison. Sidebar, I don't know if you're aware, Adam, but at the time of recording, Simon Harrison is doing a Kickstarter on a comic, so he's doing new comic art for the first time in donkeys. I'll give you a link after it. I have already, of course, backed it, because I'm not an idiot, and new Simon Harrison art is not to be sniffed at.
Oh! Wheels are turning in my brain. I will talk to you about that afterwards. So,
again, as I said, we've got a new story, and so it's getting cover billing this time, so it's Inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a cover by Simon Colby.
Yep.
Of an Inquisitor. You can tell he's Inquisitor. He's in very stylized power armor with, because you can see one of the normal standard pauldrons. Nice little mad cloak.
Mm-hmm. It's like an Iron Man take on the Inquisitor armor, and I know it's not correct, but God, I like the style.
Yeah, because you don't have the big, massive backpack and vents and
no,
and the like, which is nice. Again, ornate armor, sort of greenish grey with gold trim, with obviously the inquisitorial symbols.
Mm-hmm.
He's just looking mean. He has the 40k haircut.
Yep.
The 40k haircut.
He's got the 40k haircut and a 1999 goatee. It's like the most new metal face I've ever seen.
Yes. Inquisitor biscuit here. But yeah, the high top fade with hair on top, sort of. Do you think everyone in 40k just really liked Bane from Nightfall? Because it is Bane as well.
Oh, absolutely it is. And I think it's a mixture of everyone in 40k. The only books that survived into the 41st millennium unscathed was Batman Nightfall.
Yeah. Nobody wanted a side parting. So it's like, yep, here we go. That's too much admin. Shave that bit off. But yeah, so look at as we'll say, it's your generic kind of hero shot. Yeah. It's again a common refrain, so we won't go on it too long. Is it's not necessarily the cover that will jump out on the page off the shelf to make me want to pick it up, but it's the thing. In reflection, I haven't talked about this. Warhammer Monthly is ahead of its time because this is kind of the edict that Bill Jemass instituted into Marvel when him and Joe Quesada took over. Was instead of covers generally being about what was inside, a lot of them were just generic hero shots.
Yes, actually, that's a solid point.
So it's like, wow, ahead of the curve, maybe. Not a welcome curve, a curve I rail against repeatedly.
No, absolutely. But, I mean, especially when you get into like much later on the Marvel Heroic Age, where it just becomes almost like movie shots rather than advertising what's actually happening inside. It's one of the things that I don't like. There's two things that happened in modern comics which I always struggle with now. I understand why thought bubbles are something that you don't get much anymore, which it's one of those things. I understand why, but I've always enjoyed a good thought bubble. And then, as you say, the covers of comics ended up being more of a cinematic look than an advertisement. You don't get a lot of the inside this issue or Wolverine meets Sabretooth once more. One will die. Yeah, it's a shame because I've always enjoyed hyperbole on the cover of comics.
Yeah, I mean, the thought bubble thing's a weird one because people always look to and they always cite V for Vendetta as kind of because it's one of the first books that decides not to do with it. And it was a conscious choice to distance you from what was going on. Yes. And you were forced to interpret and try and divine more from what was there. But thought bubbles never really went away because people just substituted narrative captions for it. And to be honest, they're actually much more po-faced and tedious. Whereas just have the character do the thought bubble.
Yeah.
I remember when while he maybe maligned a lot of times for some of his work, when Bendis did Mighty Avengers, for the first time, he brought thought bubbles back.
Oh, yeah.
And he did the thing of what you would do, which is, if you're having a conversation with someone, you will sometimes have a separate thought strand going on your head because you're not giving it your full attention, or can sometimes be the case. You might be saying something to someone that you're talking to and thinking, I can't believe I'm saying this because this is absolute shite.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of playing a little bit with that. It's like, it was nice, and I kind of hoped more people do it because the whole point about anything is no tool is inherently good or inherently bad. It's how you use it makes it good or bad.
Yeah.
It's like when CG came into play in films and TV, practical effects stopped for a while. Mm-hmm. And then people suddenly realised, no, it's not an either or, it's both. Let's slowly bring them back in.
Yeah.
Because they all have their own benefits. And as people discovered quite quickly is CGI ages so much worse than practical effects.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. And that's your problem. But I digress. We've got to find Inquisitor. We also have Dwarf Lords, Shadowfast, and we're told on the top of the strap line is Daemonifuge's Ephiel Stern's last battle. Is it? I remember. So I think you're lying. You're telling fibs.
Last battle for now.
So we kind of have that. So it's an all right cover, but like I say, it doesn't do for me the brief of making me the. To be honest, the thing that's going to make you pick that up is like, oh, I can get original artwork. The strap, like, what is going to go? Oh, I'd like some original artwork.
I do. It's one of those things where a lot of the time we've spoken about how the front of Warhammer Monthly gets really difficult to read, and they've done a good job here of making the original artwork thing stand out, so it doesn't muddy up the cover. However, would it have been better being run over the top rather than right through the middle?
I would have put it at the top.
Yeah, I would have put it at the top.
Purely because, you know, if you're on a comic shelf or a newsagent shelf, that bit's likely to be obscured.
Yes.
If it's on shelves with other stuff behind it. May not be, depends on the lip of the shelf and where it is, but you can't, or you won't know where it is and what shop is. So, but the top's always going to be visible. So I would have absolutely had it on the strap line and moved it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's a strange one to have it there because, as you say, I imagine, you know, you're walking into W.H. Smith's, and unless this is at the front of the stack, you don't get to see the thing that's trying to draw you in. It's a strange choice.
Yep, so let's quickly move on to our favourite page of the book. So we get a little bit telling us about the new series for Inquisitor on the sidebar. As always, we get our updates on the other stories as well. We also get to know that there's at the bottom, it's like plus the Nurgle complex. So spoilers, we know what it is. It's a short comic story at the end of it, but it's like something else there. The ad at the bottom for what next month is a little bit better than previous in that you can read everything.
You can, and you can see it, and that's all good. The fact that the let the grudge match begin kind of comes out over the page is quite nice. I've always enjoyed it when it's done well, and I think that looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something positive. Are you ready?
Yes.
The two guys actually talk about the comic.
Yeah.
Not very much, but they talk about the actual comic. And then, unfortunately, to be fair, the joke here of hold my chainsword, well, you should know better than to grab it by the blade when it's running, you idiot, is actually a good joke. That's quite funny. But they spent less time bitching at each other and more time talking about the comic, and that was nice. It's good. I'm glad to see it.
Yeah, but by the same token, it's still a waste.
That's completely. Yeah, but at least it's better than it was.
Yes,
it's an incremental improvement.
You've only got a slight punishment beating this time, as opposed to an absolute 3-week stay in hospital. Yeah, that. Hold me back. I will be fulsome in my praise for that. No, wait, the other one. Bolt. So, again, as I say, the cover we kind of briefly mentioned is Simon Colby, who is credited here, and he is the lead artist on Inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come to shortly, because despite it being all hyped and it being the first thing, and page 3 generally being one of the first things that you see when you open a comic, periodical, or magazine, which is why the Sun always put tits in it, we actually get a letters page.
Yeah, there's a choice. That's a choice. Letters pages should always be at the back.
The thing is, I don't even... This is because this is the scan, so this is not necessarily what was on page 3. This could have been the competition, or it could have been something else. We don't know where it is. However,
True.
Your lead strip that you're bigging up and you're saying the thing should be page 3.
Yes.
Should be the first thing I'm looking at.
Yeah, 100%. It's a bizarre choice.
Yeah. It suggests it's more and more, because these Games Workshop come from a magazine publishing world where you can get away with that. It's very often as your lead features like page 40, 50, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, no. Comics are generally not like that anymore at the time. 2008 used to be a bit different in that Dread would generally be in the centre pages, but that's because that had the full colour spread.
Yeah.
And they would always do a double page layout for it, so it made sense to do it that way. But generally, as a rule, and for I think pretty much since around about the mid 600s, unless there's something special happening, the first thing you're reading in 2000 AD is Dread.
Yes. Yeah.
He's your lead, he's the boy. And that's it. So we get a letters page where, bizarrely, not much. It's just mostly letters with very little from the actual editorial team in the guise of one of the idiots from page 2. So, bizarrely, like, these are the things that I don't mind reading. As a historical thing, it's more, I'm more interested to get the perspective of the editorial in terms of the replies, because it's always interesting what each to do. But this is just the most insipid thing, saying, "Yep, you'll see more Dwarfs and Grudge match next month." Yeah,
there's
just
okay. So there's a couple of letters in here that are worth having a look at, I feel. Of course, the most important letter is Skaven shall rule all. Kill, kill. Listen to the glorious bell tolling. Kill, kill, men. The only thing needed for our takeover is some links to Warhammer Monthly on the internet. Kill, kill. Skaven will then crush all in their path. Kill, kill. Rat ogres pour forth from the depths of the planet. Kill, kill, men. The death machines of Clanskias warlock engineers shall destroy enemies as they are made. Kill, kill, men. Nothing shall survive. Grey Seer Chris Lang, Tasmania. And it's like, oh, well, that made me happy.
Yeah.
But the other one, the more interesting one, I think, is the one from Simon Holliday on Stockton-on-Tees, where he says, I'd like the comic to come out only as frequently as it does. After all, why change the title? I would also like to make one small complaint. It's the two characters who introduced the magazine. They are a tad, well, crap, to be honest. They are childish, unfunny, and totally unnecessary. How about using other members of the staff as the focal point on the letters and contents pages? That's what we've been saying since issue 1, right there. And it's nice to see that somebody's written in with that same mindset.
Yeah.
Of course, the response is chip, camp, coop, chap, carp. You think we're some kind of fish? Is that it? Funny fellow.
Like, just get in the fucking bin.
Yeah. Just, you had the chance there to actually do something, and it's, yeah.
Yes. Let's move on to Inquisitor. So, as it very much seems to be whenever there's any kind of Warhammer 40,000 story in any strand of media, it's like, roll a d6, 1 to 3, Dan Abnett.
Yes.
Which is not enough. It just seems to be he is ubiquitous. It's like,
no, he is connected to 40k more so than any other person at this point. It's ridiculous.
It does very much feel like there's welcome to the Dan Abnett verse. you are a guest here. Take your shoes off. There's no smoking. We use coasters in this house.
We already use coasters in Dan Abnett's house.
Okay. Script by Dan Abnett, art by Simon Colby, letters by Gordon Robson.
Mm-hmm.
So the story of this is, so this is Inquisitor Defay, who we get our first shot of him. He's wearing a strange hood, and we're being narrated by one of his pupils, Gravier. I'm sure it's meant to be Gravier, but we're calling him Gravier because it's funnier and sounds slightly northern.
I like the fact that Abnett has stolen the Felix and Gotrek style from The Life of Defay by his pupil Gravier. It's like, you cheeky bastard. That's
Talent
how Felix and Gotrek stories work.
Yeah, talent borrows, genius steals. So basically, he's ready to go. So he's only 3 months into service with the Inquisitor, and he's journeyed to the city of Nicodemus, where lately chaos has been unleashed. So they're on a barge over some horrible water. Could be anything.
It seems to be like a hive-style city, so I'm going to guess that it's just pure sump.
Yeah. And basically, there's chaos scavengers are there, so the Inquisitor's going under an investigation. Probably killed loads of people.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, how else do you pay for your ticket?
Definitely. So they see the chaos beast, and the Inquisitor quickly draws this nice gun of some description, couple of barrels. I like here that we're not entirely slavishly going to the designs of all the GW stuff. I like it when the artist, it's recognisable that it does feel 40k-ish, but isn't necessarily that. Because the people ends up helping him because Inquisitor's guns jammed, so he picks up what's clearly meant to be some kind of stylized heavy bolter.
Yep, looks good though. Looks really good.
It looks like a bolter.
I love the weight of it.
Yes, I mean it's clearly a heavy bolter, but it looks like there's been some design work done a bit there, which, again, given it's the Inquisition, you probably have their own stuff. It's like, well, it needs to be look like that. And again, you have in the lore, obviously, depending on where weapons are, what Forge World the weapons are, they actually have their own variations anyway, just design flourishes and what have you. So it's quite nice that it's not carbon copy of what it is. And so he's there, and you get obviously the massive bolt shells, which is always cool. Just let's loose a salvo.
Yeah, and they blow the gargoyles into tiny, tiny bits. It's like.
Meanwhile, the Inquisitor stands about and does absolutely hee-haw.
No, he's doing a very important job. He's cosplaying as a Protoss from StarCraft. That's what he's doing. Tell me that when you're reading this, you weren't just thinking, we require additional pylons.
I was actually thinking more, again, for anyone listening, of course my reference is going to come from fucking comics. Just don't hate me. But a strange combination of Morph from Age of Apocalypse.
Yep.
The John John's the Martian Manhunter in his Martian form with his big point. A little bit of the more modern in 2008 Proteus Vex.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, just kind of that kind of style. But it's like, again, and also when Doctor Strange became the superhero version and was just strange.
God, I forgot about that. Yes.
I do like occasionally reminding Adam of mid-90s comic trauma.
There's a reason I own and will never get rid of a complete run of Thunderstrike. And that's down to you. That's your fault.
Yes, but again, I genuinely love the Thunderstrike.
I mean, same.
I hear no wrong words against Eric Masterton, one of the great Thors.
So, not the best Thor.
No. I can tell you who the best Thor is. It's clearly the one from the future. Is it something Dargo, Cal Dargo, or something? I am, of course, joking, ladies and gentlemen. The best Thor is Walt Simonson Thor.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Mostly followed by Stan and Jack. Then Al Ewing.
Al Ewing gets the character really, really well.
Now, I quite liked Jason Aaron as well. Now, there are going to be some people who will tell you that JMS's Thor is good. They're wrong. Pat them on the head and humor them, and then give them one of the works of the others and just go, no. Read this and come back to me.
100%. 100%.
So the Inquisitor then, after Gravier has done his stuff, it's like quick wits and a good eye. Well done, Gravier. And it's like, and he's at that point going, as your gun didn't fire, maybe I should check it. It would be ill if it misfired again. And the Inquisitor's like, later, bro, we're good.
Bo, if you realise that if I gave you my gun to fix, then maybe I'd have to use it and you wouldn't have a job anymore. So just leave it for now.
Yeah. So they go to the seat of their outbreak, which is some kind of administrative hive building. A nice mix of architecture in terms of it. It's not quite Imperial stuff. It's got a bit of hodgepodge.
It looks amazing though.
Yeah.
Gorgeous design. It's got you can kind of see the Imperial build in there, but it's got these lovely shapes to it that
like minarets. It kind of feels like kind of old school sort of Constantinople and sort of Crusade in terms of that kind of architecture. So again, you kind of have if you want to look at it, is this a world that kind of, again, as with all the worlds that were lost during the Age of Strife, is they find their own way, do their own thing, then the uniformity of the Imperium of Man comes in and you see it take over and subvert, but there's still traces and roots of what was there before.
Yeah,
And
I think so. I love seeing. One of the things I love about 40k is when you get to see stuff outside the normal beaten track. So when it's less Space Marine and more average person and how they live. You know, what does average life look like in the 41st millennium? And when you get to see like wonderful bits of architecture like that, it really just, that's the shit I love.
It just adds a little bit of flavour to the world, because there is a tendency in kind of far-flung science fiction to make it kind of look samey.
Yes, 100%.
So it's like give flourishes for your different locations, particularly if you could end up in multiple locations that you want it to look different if you go. So not everything should look the same. There'll be similar touches of its Imperial world, but there'll be variations as they go.
Mm-hmm.
So the Gravier is giving the exposition as to what happened, as to why they're there, telling that there's basically an eruption of chaotic matter spreading out from here, 500 dead, and before it was contained. It's like, chaos always comes from somewhere, people. So they enter the palace and they see there's all the various servitors and the like. And the Inquisitor still masked just goes, "I am Defay. I wish to see the survivor the report spoke of." The random Imperial official just goes, "Follow me."
Stack it carefully. Oh, leave it there. The servitors. Look at the servitor. Look how gormless the servitor is. It's great.
Well, there is a tendency when you see the servitor designs is to lean into the nightmarish aspect of them in terms of their convict or whatever that's been repurposed, and just as basically meat robots.
Yep.
But I like touching on the fact that that this is kind of an empty shell of something that used to be. So it's quite a nice, rather than playing up the creepiness of them, it's playing up the cruelty of it. So nice
the horror of banality, and it's a real nice look for a servitor. Because you're absolutely right. What you usually get with the servitors is Borg light.
It's look at the horrible, creepy robot men.
Yeah.
Rather than here, you're actually kind of looking at it going, "Oh, poor soul." It's and I don't know whether that's come from the script or whether it's just that's Colby's decision when he's drawn it to lean into that.
It works for me. It really works. It's one of the things that stood out. Just that's a really solid piece of design work going on there. I'm trying my best not to just talk completely about the design work in this, because I've got things to say.
We'll that at the end of when we sort of recap. So you kind of have, as he's going along, you're now getting a little bit about Gravier, and he's basically saying he's basically only been there a little while, and his duties are minding to the Inquisitor's needs, give him his tools, his weapons, and record his faithfully his actions in history. Apparently, he's new to the role. His predecessor was there for 9 years, and he's unfortunately not been able to break his clerical encryption and read the records. So there's so much about his master he doesn't yet know.
What was the predecessor called?
Is that Hulkwyn?
Hulkwyn. I've just got this image of his predecessor just being this giant behemoth. Me type records. Hulkwyn.
But so it's like, okay, so Eve, again, just a nice little touch. Again, the ridiculousness of the Inquisition and Imperial thing is like, oh yeah, I want you to do this. I'm not going to make it easy for you, though.
No.
Here's a record of all my previous stuff. Nah, you have to find that out yourself.
You need to work out how to break in.
So the Inquisitor's led to the guy who is the source of the outbreak. And he's just saying, people, the man alone has survived the heart of chaos unscathed. He can bear witness to his cause, but terror has stolen his voice. We must persuade him to speak. And then you get the narration of 3 hours that the master's going, giving questions, and the man cowers like a frightened animal. And it seemed to me he wanted to speak, but couldn't. And then, to his surprise, Master Defay asked for my opinion. What think you, Gravier?
Me, Master? Why, I feel that he would speak if he dared. Good
and then, something in the wretch's eyes told me I'd struck upon the truth. And you see the guy kind of looking. it doesn't quite get the terror on that one. There is a bit more of the Gormless Servitor about this one, so it's not quite the wide-eyed panic. So it doesn't quite sell it, but the dialogue keeps you going.
Mm-hmm.
But don't worry, because he doesn't need to look terrified for long, because it turns out he's actually got psychic ability he didn't know about, and Chaos had made him his gateway, and he basically just morphs into some huge evil-looking beast with a lot of teeth.
Yeah. It's organic phalanx.
Yeah. And then just goes, just as it happens, Master, your weapon is jammed.
Blam, 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 blam. It is not jammed, nor was it earlier. A master must always test his pupil.
You protected your master without question. You heard the truth even when it was silent. At this point, he starts taking off his mask. And it's like, you'll be an Inquisitor yet, Gravier. So, suggesting that his pupil maybe became an Inquisitor. But maybe not. Lord Inquisitor, and it's like, burn everything. Let not one shred remain. There we go. Inquisition.
Yep, that's the Inquisition way. When in doubt, burn it to bits.
So again, as we see, and he's, again, to touch on, because it's not clearly on the cover, you now see him probably head. So we have the 40k haircut with a ponytail.
Yeah.
And the Fred Durst bum fluff.
Yeah, he did it all for the nooking. So we could have his cooking.
And stick it up, yeah. So, end of part one.
So, as an opener, as a opening salvo to a new story, I like this. I like this a lot, in fact. It's done enough to grab my attention, and the artwork it's weird because it's not usually it's a bit busy for my usual style, but I really liked it.
Oh, big fan of Colby, so I will say I'm not as sold on the story as you, because it kind of falls in between. It's like, who is going to be your focal point of this story?
Mm-hmm.
Is because if it's the newbie learning the ropes, Dan, you kind of did that with Titan.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Also, if we're getting it, if the Inquisitor is going to be the lead character, again, we have the thing of we know nothing about him. He's just a dick. It's one of these things that it's almost like there seems to be a formula that Games Workshop want to do for these strips, and it's like, just
try something different. Yeah, experiment a bit more. And yeah, I agree, but I think
it's not awful. Like I say, it's more as we're looking at these in isolation and probably focusing on them in a bit more granular detail than you would do as part of the reading experience. It's probably leaping out a little bit more. So I will caveat that. The art is lovely. I'm a big fan of, again, Warhammer Monthly is just the home of 2000 AD artists I like. So,
yeah, 100%.
Colby obviously cut his teeth on Transformers, moved on to 2000 AD, did Rogue Trooper, not the original, the Friday, then Death's Head 2 for a little bit. And seemed he seemed to fall out of comics in the 90s when the market and comics died in their arse for a bit.
Yeah.
After this, he ends up back at 2000 AD doing Rogue Trooper again, but classic Rogue Trooper with Gordon Rennie doing Jaeger, all the stuff regarding the knots. Well working out. His style's morphing here because he was a very slightly more angular. As you said, busy. There's hallmarks and there's enough of his early Death's Head Dread to Rogue Trooper stuff in here, but he moves into, and you can see shades of being a little bit more painterly, a little bit more brush work in this that you'll see to greater effect in his later stuff in 2000 with Jaeger and the like. Composition is great. As I say, knows where, again, we get some nice spotted blacks. We get some nice grey washes as well.
Yes.
We're playing with the tones where we don't always see a lot in some of the story. Could be talked about, obviously, Darkblade being obviously a lot of washes and tones, but very rarely did Darkblade ever give you just some stark black and white. And we've seen others where lean all into the stark black and white where we don't get the tones. So it's again, it's taking all the tools and using them wisely. Let's say.
Absolutely. And there's a lot here. At no point is this difficult to read. Yeah, no. That's one of the important things to really get across. There's a weight to everything. There's a sense of movement to everything. Kinetic energy artwork is always something that's going to grab me. The entire page, like the full page, master your weapon is jammed. Yeah, I don't know why, but that kind of reminds me of something like martial law. Just the sheer kinetic energy popping off the page is beautiful.
It's one of these things I always look at when you're doing with transformation sequences from like human to monster to demon or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
A difficult thing to do because what you're trying to do is get the sense of this eruption, this growth, this like massive like cancer on steroids erupting out of someone. So you kind of have to try. It's getting that balance between it being busy, but I can still parse everything and know what's going on. And it's a difficult thing to do. So it quite wisely focuses when you're doing the bulk of the transformation sequence. Just focuses tightly on the head, so you can just see kind of the effects on a smaller scale, but lets you know everything else is doing it. So when you get the next panel, which is the money shot on the page, and he's in his big monster form, it's done.
Yep. And whereas it gets across that violent upheaval that happens in a couple of seconds beautifully.
It's also because if you were trying to do that with full body shots or even mid shots with the other characters interacting with him, it gets crowded, it gets busy. So it's about picking your panels and getting the storytelling right. Because as I said, I say all the time, it's not about pretty drawing; it's about telling the story.
100%.
The art should serve the story first, and then it should be good in its own right. But if it's good art and doesn't serve the story, it's failed. Which we've touched on in previous strips.
Absolutely. This tells the story. I mean, the story is simple. Yeah, it's an introduction. It's simple. And I would actually disagree with you, to be honest, where the focal point is on the acolyte. You know, on the little guy, Gravier, who. The Inquisitor is background.
Yeah, but is he the focal point for the series? It's not clear.
No, I see what you mean.
It's more. We're, I mean, if you said Inquisitors, it's like fine, but who is going to be? Is this the master training as apprentice type thing? We'll get again. Low point is given that they've kind of said his last protege was 9 years. He's been there. It's like
there is a story to be told about DeFay's backstory that is yet to come out, and it probably will as we go along.
Possibly, it's more just you have based on because as I've said before, with Dan Abnett's work, there are a couple of Dan Abnetts, and with Dan Abnett Fire, Dan Abnett's brilliant.
Yeah,
but we've had Darkblade Dan Abnett.
We have,
and that I think colours my perception of this based on: is this going to be another fetch quest?
I don't think it is. From what we've got here, there's an investigation that's going to take place, and I think it's probably going to be more like Daemonifuge than it is Darkblade.
I hope so.
I'm insane because I couldn't take another Darkblade at the moment
until Darkblade 2.
I'm hoping that never happens. I'm hoping against hope that we have completely misremembered and Darkblade never comes back.
Yeah, good luck with that. But no, it's a solid opener. It does enough that I do want to read it, but I say it's not without reservations.
Yeah,
that is always based. But
I mean, even if the story gets rubbish, I'm just going to sit here and enjoy the art. Because there's decisions that get made throughout this, which I think I'd take my hat off to. I'll go through a few of them, actually, because I think there's some stuff here I really want to talk about and discuss. So the weight of the bolter, when Gravier brings the bolter out, and you can see the strain of him holding it. It's not an easy thing to do to get that kind of weight across, and it both feeling like it's a strain and not rearing into the worlds of unreality, of ridiculousness. It looks like it's a fight to hold it in place. And that's, honestly, I take my hat off to him, because that is an amazing piece of work. And it's not something that would stand out. It's not something that you'd look at and go, oh my God, that's an incredible piece of work. It is, using the bare essentials, the bare base minimum of how things should look on the page to create a solid piece of work.
Yeah. No, it's, as we said, it's about it's moments in the story. It's telling a story. It's like, okay, fine. So there you go. Oh, crap. Bag of chest. There we go. Big, massive, heavy bolter. And yeah, it should just be, oh, this is going to hurt.
Yep. And it does. I mean, the image of the gargoyle being shredded by one of these bullets is like, frickin' hell. Gooped. Just the entire face vanishes. But going back to the page of the transformation, one of the things that I have sat and looked at this when I was reading this last night, last night and last week, was the way that the silhouette stays the same during the transformation. So stuff like the collar of his cloak, it becomes part of the tail of the creature. It's such a wonderful little bit of work.
Yeah.
I genuinely, and I'm saying this, I don't say this lightly, but this might actually be my favorite art in Warhammer Monthly so far.
I wouldn't go that far as of the next story. However, what I really like is he's transformed into a demon thing. Doesn't have the usual horns and stuff. He's gone for a monstrous creature, which is a nice touch, because he could have easily just done a kind of, there's the horns, all that. There's the hooves and the trident tail and all that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, just gone for something.
I mean, my guess would be that it's going to be something Nurgle-lite, because the guy looks like his flesh is melting off him.
I wouldn't necessarily say, because it doesn't look like it's like postulating or sores. It just kind of looks like random chaos spawn.
Yeah, just toothsome.
Yeah, big teeth. But again, not. But interestingly, not fangs. It's just a distorted.
Yeah, it's just a giant mouth. It's not a.
I want to say it looks like some kind of sea bits of like some kind of sea creature as well.
Yeah,
with the underside, the underbelly, just it's clear some marine biology influence in that, which is always a go-to if you are looking to do monstrous creatures. It's just look for Google weird shit that lives in the ocean. But I'll joke aside, it's what a lot of people do. It's a good place to get things that look out with
organic, but not terrestrial.
Yeah, pure. It's things out with our frame of reference, because anything above, we can see most things that are above that are modified to live on dry land or our sort of tolerances for pressure and what have you. All again, you go from horse to whatever hind leg creatures on mammals, lizards, all that. There's certain commonalities of how species have evolved. Yeah. Whereas if you're in basically water with absolute spine crushing pressure of that basically will take care of idiotic Americans and tinfoil submarines.
Yeah, quickly as well, very, very quickly.
You will evolve certain ways. So it's like, it's just nice. It's not the typical, oh look, I've just copied a.
Yeah, it's not a demonette. It's not a plague bearer. Yeah, not bloodthirster. It's something else. And yeah, the idea of having something that is just very much, here's a chaos spawn, which is just a load of attributes that are basically thrown onto some horrible yucky flesh. Yeah, I'm in. I'm 100% in. It's nice to see a 40k, because as 40k goes along, especially when it gets into like 4th and 5th edition, it solidifies a lot of what chaos is, which I've always felt was a mistake.
Ridiculously stupid as an inherent concept of it's chaos.
Yes. Yeah. And you've got some of the stories in like Rogue Trader 2nd Ed. You have horrible, unrelenting nightmares popping out. There's a short story in Deathwing, Devil's Marauders, and what you get at the end of that is people who are just peeling the flesh off themselves, and these things are growing out from underneath it, and it's horrifying, which is what it should be, and that's what this is. It's genuinely unsettling, horrifying monstrosity.
Yeah,
chaos. Granted, I feel it goes down a little too easy, being shot at by a tiny gun, but
we don't know what the Inquisitors got in the gun in the chain. And you're also looking at is a newly. I would also argue if it's chaos, it's probably in its embryonic state at that point.
Yeah, so it's nasal, it's nascent.
Yeah, it's not quite where it is. So I would argue that's kind of how it ends up being jobbed out as easy as it is. And again, it's just there to show us like, no, the Inquisitor was comfortable do this all along. He was just waiting to see what you could do.
Are we going to talk about the Inquisitor's cheeks? Because for someone wearing a cape, that man's got some serious cheeks.
It's more just that I'm not sure if it's the shadows or the way it's done, but it's just kind of when he takes off the mask, it's a slightly lumpy cheek, or he's either that, or he has a gobstopper in the side of his mouth. Which,
I wasn't talking about those cheeks. The it is not jammed, nor was it earlier panel. For a man wearing a cloak, that he has got some serious cheeks on display.
Either that, or it's a very figure-hugging cape. I do like the cape having the spawn tendrils at the bottom.
Absolutely, that's one of the things I wanted to get into. Was the cape moves like a spawn cape, and it makes me so happy because Spawn will always be a touchstone in my comic journey.
Yes,
for good or for ill, I will always have a soft spot for the first 100 issues of Spawn.
That soft spot would seem to be brain damage, because you should have a soft spot for about the first 20, maybe 30 at best before you've learned.
No, I didn't learn. I did not learn. I will put my hand up and say I did not learn for 100 issues.
Dip in every now and then, just morbid curiosity, and I do keep up with it through various means these days. But I'm
not saying it was good.
No.
I'm just saying I had a soft spot.
Yes.
Especially when Greg Capullo takes over. Oh, God, that artwork. Yum.
But yeah, so Inquisitor, like one of the issues it's not an issue, but one of the things we'll have to look at is the Inquisition are all absolute shitebags.
Yes.
So it's quite bold that Dan Abnett once again making a story about an utter shitebag.
And I don't know if it's just because of how much I came to despise Darkblade, but I'm already liking Inquisitor Defay more than Malice Darkblade.
Well, he has shown more in that he is a dick.
Yeah, he's actually got a personality. Yeah,
like, you've been here 3 months. I'm just putting you through your paces.
Yeah, I'm going to see exactly what you can do, because if you don't do it, we're both dead.
Well, again, you kind of have the feeling of he was never in any jeopardy at any point in time. He's just that gun's got whatever bullets it needs.
Yeah, it's got Hellboy bullets in it.
Yeah, blessed by the Emperor or some nonsense, or made of warp stuff, or all the stuff that you're not allowed, but the Inquisition will have because it suits them.
Yep.
But
maybe that's the haircut. Maybe you can only make inquisitorial bullets if you shave the sides of your head and use parts of the hair to make the bullets.
Possibly. I just hate the Inquisition.
As well, you should. They're not something to enjoy. No. They're something to fear and get annoyed by.
Oh yeah, but it's more just actually, even in the lore and the fiction, is just like nah.
Mm-hmm.
I generally don't like it. And it's not a reflection on the quality of the writing. It's just any time those stories that focus on Inquisition, I switch off.
I will
Because
say, of course, there's the Cyphers Kane stories, which are probably the best Inquisitor in Emberly Vale. But she's ace.
but it's more just I'm without the Inquisition get wiped out by the Space Marines. That's what would have happened at multiple points.
Yeah.
Especially all the old Space Wolves.
Yes, if the Inquisition had actually been doing their job, the Space Wolves wouldn't be there.
Yeah. But it would be good to see like the Space Wolves and Dark Angel both have their own reasons for despising the Inquisition. Just like, yeah, let's just take them out. And obviously, a bit interested to see in lore terms now, which is moving much further forward what we're talking about here in Warhammer Monthly. But given the amount of Primarchs are back, Inquisition would be on shaky pegs.
Oh, 100%. It's
Gilliman with them.
No. Well, Gilliman doesn't. Gilliman and Dark Imperium, I think it is shocked and horrified at what the Inquisition is.
Yeah. So he'd have no truck with them. Again, the Lion won't. He's like,
no,
I'm in charge. I'm doing it my way. Fuck you, fuck you, and fuck you. If Russ is indeed back, fuck you and fuck you and fuck you.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping the next Loyalist Primarch to return is going to be Russ, and you just have Russ and Lionel Johnson just looking at each other and going, right, we'll just put things to one side and we're going to have to deal with this. You just have L. Johnson riding Russ into battle.
Yeah. Time to fuck shit up, guys.
Russ isn't a giant wolf. He's just on his shoulders.
Yeah. So let's take our leave of the Inquisition and the worlds of Warhammer 40k to go to the crown jewel of Warhammer Monthly, Shadowfast.
So previously on Shadowfast, we discovered that the elves that our illustrious hero had been saving them, had been fighting the Skaven for, were Dark Elves, the scum of Naggaroth. These Dark Elves decide it's going to be time for a Paga as they start beating the hell, well, trying to beat the hell out of Shadowfast, who, of course, has the ability to wood elf his way out of everything. Naggaroth itself could not force me to surrender, he says. Surrender? I don't want you to surrender, woodling. I want you broken. Brave words, Wardancer. Do you intend the same of my comrades? And all of a sudden we get a creature, a horrifying-looking Dark Elf sorcerer of some description. Although I'm not sure if it's Dark Elf or Chaos or a Necromancer. It's just a dude. Oh, he's a Necromancer, of course he is. Drakash Boneseer, the Necromancer, watches the fight below with interest as the vampire master that he's got stares at him from a... what's he called? The thing from Lord of the Rings.
Palantir.
The Palantir stares at him from the Palantir that he's bought from Home Bargains. Yeah, more fighting going on. There's more battles, more worrying warriors as they fight their way around. And I'm going to be honest with you, things get a little bit messy here as we get the Wood Elf spirits getting summoned. What help you presume to save us? If I must survive, now slay them. Yeah,
so you kind of get the thing of the staff steals the souls of those that it kills.
Yeah. So now we know what the staff does.
And as a result, the Dark Elves he kills are now bound to him.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that the power is the result of Drakash the Boneseer. It's his castle.
Yes.
So you're bound to a staff that belongs to a necromancer. Bad choice.
Very, very bad. Not good at all. Not good at all.
So
yeah, the story ends, of course, with the Skaven. But this whole looking out. This is now a 3-way battle, for the Skaven have arrived to fight the Skaven have arrived to fight everybody else is what's happening.
Yeah.
You're getting an undead army, the Skaven and the elves, all in mortal combat. I'm going to say something to prefix this, which I am aware is probably going to upset you. I found this really, really hard to read through. I've gone through it a couple of times, but for some reason, this one felt the most difficult Shadowfast to follow. Now, that could be a me problem. It could be a page problem. I don't know. But something about it was really hard for me to get through.
I'm just going to end the call now, Adam. I have to admit, I didn't find it hard to read, but what I did find was this was very choppy.
Yeah.
The rhythm of the story, I think, doesn't serve it, because you're basically... It feels very much like we are rushing to a conclusion, and we're needing to get you up to speed very quickly.
Yeah,
You've got room for the dark, because specifically as you got room for the Dark Elf mystery to breathe in the last issue. You get to the end, and I was like, "Oh, it's Dark Elves. Why are you here? Let's cut to this scene to tell you exactly why we're here, and let's cut." This feels like it's not giving the story room to breathe.
No, it feels like every page you're getting a new concept thrown at you.
The fight scene doesn't get the room to breathe either.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
Again, it's all about, as we talk about, storytelling. So this is clearly, the issues with this come from the script, not the art.
Yes,
I'd say
100%.
that anyway, because it's Simon Harrison and he is a god. But no, everything is very rushed at this point. I mean, realistically, what you're getting is your two big MacGuffins here, in terms of you find out who owns it, what he wants, but you're also getting the fact that he knows what the staff is. You're also finding out that there's going to be a big battle between three armies at the end of it.
Yeah,
crammed a lot in, which tells me we've got one part left.
Yes, and I've got a feeling that this script got condensed. I think I can see a version of this where you have the fight and then it ends with the necromancer.
I don't even see you potentially getting the necromancer. I see you get him finding out that he needs to go to the castle.
Yeah.
Because the thing that he should need and doesn't get the time to have any weight is anybody you're killing with the staff, you are now imprisoning their souls. Like for a wood elf style character, probably wouldn't sit well with them, even if it is dark elves and all that. So you're not getting any room for that, the ramifications to set in. No,
I mean the first time I went through it, for a couple of minutes, I felt that was the elves from earlier on in the story being brought back. The ghost of his ancestors being brought back out again. And it took me a while to realize that it's not. It's the dark elves that he's killing now. And it just feels like it's so intensely condensed that it's really hard to kind of pass out all of the story.
Yeah. Let's say it's just you're not giving the story room to breathe, because the art is exceptional as it's been since the first page.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no reduction in the quality of the art as it is. I think that in the same way that if you have a script that is inherently weak, you're always going to struggle in getting it beyond good. Good art can elevate a bad script, but it can't save a poor script. And I think as much as this is, it is beautiful to look at, it's absolutely gorgeous to look at. And you can tell a story from just looking at it. But the script itself has so many moments going on that nothing has a chance to stop and exist.
Yeah.
One thing happens and you're already on to the next.
No, I'm a fan of dense storytelling as a general rule.
Yes.
I do not like decompressed storytelling. And again, as a child of UK comics in the 80s, where if you're reading things like The Eagle or that, it's it's a 3-page weekly installment, so it's all plot, no characterization. It's just event after event after event. There's a place for that. Now you could have gotten away with this if that had been how the story is presented from part 1, but it clearly isn't. It's had the room to breathe. So it's about, and particularly in terms of any kind of serial storytelling, it's once you've established the rhythm, now you can play with that a little, because you do want to occasionally do it to show things like a change. You will change pace sometimes to kind of slow events down or speed things up. But this feels like things are lurching very quickly, and it's one after because we need to get to an end point.
Yeah.
And it's like, and when you see that and you experience it, it does mean that the experience is less satisfying. The art is no less impressive, but as a reading experience, it's not as enjoyable as the previous installment. So I will agree with you on that one.
Well, it's like you've had just 10s out of 10s out of 10s out of 10s going, from the beginning, and then all of a sudden you get a 7 out of 10. But that 7 out of 10 is always going to feel worse because you've become so used to that high standard that Shadowfast has had from the start, from the get-go. It has been, genuinely impressive for what we've had. And even though this is still a good story, because it's had that drop, it feels worse somehow.
Yeah. No, that's it. It's always that. If something you're enjoying something when it disappoints you, it hurts more than something that's been just all right that suddenly isn't as good.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And as you say, the art itself is gorgeous. All the skeletons coming to life. Oh, that's my jam right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but from start to finish, I really struggled with this one. When it switches over to the necromancer to Drakash Boneseer. Yeah. It's like, all right, where are we? What are we doing? Okay.
It's also the thing, if you've got the thing belongs to the castle of Drakash Boneseer, but he's still reporting to someone else.
Yeah.
It's this kind of, we've kind of escalated the villains as we've gone. You've kind of had your beast man-y chap who they call out as being useless, and the Wardancers have done a better job of bringing him the staff back than anybody else unintentionally. But it's like, who's your, and the master is clearly I'm going to assume is the person that tempted him to pick up the staff in the first place, who spoke to him while he was on the mound. But it's just like you're doing reveal. It's like it doesn't work.
You look at this one page and you have close by in the castle of Drakash Boneseer. Right, so we've now got a necromancer. We've now got a castle that we're seeing in the distance, and we've got this new guy, but he's also got a guy. So here's another new guy, and then the next page, you've got the fight that then leads to all the ghosts coming out of the staff, and that's 3 big concepts that just hit one after the other, and nothing has a chance to really settle before you're on to the next one. And it's annoying. It's truly annoying to make.
Yeah.
That's obviously I don't want to give this a kicking because it is still heads and tails very good. It's just that slide and in this installment has really, it threw me off. It truly threw me off.
I agree. Like I said, just it's one of these things that the rhythm of the story is just gone. Can you get it back? Possibly, but it's more just that, Now, is that a case of was the story cut short? Or was this a case of the writer didn't make use of the page count he had and could have potentially sped things up on earlier installments and it wouldn't have been as bad? But we don't know.
No. If the last installment had introduced you to the castle and the fact there was a necromancer watching, it didn't have to give you any more than that.
Yeah.
You would have had more space in this one.
Yeah.
Just to get across, there's another guy plus the staff.
You're asking a lot of a reader, and it's also just like, you need time to digest things, and go,
Yeah.
okay, fine, here's where we are. Yeah, it's still enjoyable, but just as you say, just a bit of a bum note.
Yeah, it just felt like it felt like the trapdoor went underneath me in this one. It was just, oh no. I'm hoping that this is just getting everything in a row for a really good final installment. Well, it does say to be continued, not to be concluded. So
yeah. So we will see next month. Now, we're staying in the worlds of Warhammer, and from a great strip that's been disappointing to, well, Dwarf Lords.
Yeah, Dwarf Lords.
So,
Dwarf Lords is back.
Yes, again, another bio page of Olif Thumpcrush. That's just, you didn't even try.
No, of all the laziest. I'm going to create a throwaway character to play in a D&D game name I've ever come across. Yeah. I mean, there is stuff in here which is fun. You know, Olif has a healthy mistrust for anything greater than 5 feet tall. He lost his right leg after being captured while drunk by a chaos worshipping sorcerer and thrown through a magical vortex as a sacrifice to a beast on the other side. The beast was slain. It seems that being legless does not stop a dwarf with a grudge. Yeah, it's fun enough, but
yeah,
that's a page. That's a page being used up.
Yeah. So we get on to part 4, Restaurant at the World's Edge Mountains.
Yeah.
Now, rather than recap the story first, we're gonna flip things around. This is probably the most readable installment.
Yeah.
In terms of a lot of the issues in terms of the sequential storytelling from the previous installment have been addressed. This is a much more coherent read. I wasn't having to give myself a migraine parsing what was going on.
Mm-hmm. But
I think part of the problem is if I was to take this installment just on its own, look at this part in isolation, it's perfectly serviceable. The dwarves have encountered a brother and sister.
Yep.
Invited them down to an ale. Basically said, go down to an ale house. It's nice for mother to have someone new. It's like, not wrong there. I've got a feeling they're going to be spoiled. You know full well something's wrong. It's going to be evil. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but you kind of know this is what we're going on.
Mm-hmm.
So they go all the way down. And it turns out that the mother's an old crone. Goes, oh, Mulkey and Rolkey never mentioned they were having friends for supper. They're just in time. Just the thing. Wipe your feet, and it's just basically food and booze.
Yep. Poisonous booze.
Yeah. And they wake up in a cage, suspended. Something bad's about to happen to them. And it basically turns out that they were going to be fed to spiders.
Yes.
Big giant spiders.
I was kind of happy with the fact that it's big giant spiders in a weird way, because you're kind of expecting, oh, here we go. What chaos monster is it going to be? What evil sorcerer? Oh, no, just big spiders. Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. And of course, one of them's been wrapped up.
Yes, one of them's already been there, and I was like, don't be scared, he just wants to play.
Was it?
And I was like, there, did those horrible dwarfs frighten you? It's one of these things that I'm finding it difficult to be objective as considering how piss poor I found it previously. On its own, on this installment, it's perfectly serviceable, it's perfectly fine. But it's like, it's quite clear that these dwarfs are imbeciles. They
really are. I think one of my biggest problems with the previous installments sits very high here, which is that the dwarfs themselves are a bunch of cliches with no character.
Yeah.
There's nothing to them. There's absolutely nothing to them. And as a result, you don't care about them. There's, I'll put it this way. Name me one dwarf and what he does.
Dave Thumpcrush, Olif. Olif. The only reason I know is because I read that before we started. But there is. This is lovely art, as I've said. The sins of the last part have been addressed here. It's a lot easier part. The cartooning is top notch.
Mm-hmm. The giant sound effect for clump and smash made me very happy.
Yeah, but God love this is absolute shite.
It is. It's nothing. That's the problem with it. It's nothing. When it comes to something, when the highlight for me for this installment is the fact that one of the dwarfs apparently has Mr. Fantastic powers, it tells you a lot. Force perspective is always a fun thing, and I always enjoy it. But that's not force perspective when they're swinging the little cage around. That's full blown superhero stretchy power.
Yeah, it's the fact that I always find it upsetting when good art is in service of a terrible story.
Yeah, there is good jokes in here. There's the wench, bring me something with a little more bite. Oh yes, right away. The creepy twins come and join us. What's your poison? You're drinking it, dwarf. Yeah, that's good. That's fun.
Yeah.
I think it was written as a very anarchic, playful script, but it just doesn't hit the stride it needs to. It's not as fun as it thinks it is. I think that's my problem with it.
But the problem is also anything like this when you're doing sort of comedies, and if you're doing them, if they're the butt of the jokes, you have to be in some way care for them or be engaged with them, and they're not. They are just, as you say, just a big bag of, I've just rolled on my character generator table for my dwarf here, and I've just had some really shitty rolls.
Yes.
And like I say, the art is glorious, but just absolute cack.
Yeah, it's sad. It really is, because I was excited for Dwarf Lords, but yes, this is better than it has been. Don't get me wrong, this is better, but it's still not good. We're now hitting painfully average, rather than unreadable gripe, and it's annoying because there are elements here where you can see it's straining at its own leash in order to try and be something. That the joke, the what's your poison joke before, the join the club, smash. That's funny, and it should be a riotous good time. But because you don't care about anything, you don't care about any of the characters, it's nothing. It's just because the art is so lavish, and I really enjoy it. I like the art. It's as we said, we're now obviously we've talked over 11 issues plus issue 0. Is very rarely are we taking fault with the art in Warhammer Monthly. It generally tends to be the flaws tend to be in the writing. Yes,
and part of that is also that should be in the editing as well, because that should be we're now 4 installments in. Someone should be saying this is not good.
Yeah, which
we need to either course correct or spike it and put Paul Davidson to work on something better.
Yeah, 100%. And that you'd think. I think a big problem here is that I feel that they were more interested in filling the page count than they were with anything else. Now, that makes perfect sense when you're maybe up to issue 5, but anything after that, you shouldn't be just getting stuff to fill the page count, and you need to have stuff that is worthwhile reading.
Yeah.
Which we're going to come to very, very soon, to be honest with you. But Dwarf Lords feels like it's there as a holding pattern in order to keep the page count up while something else is being done or something else is working in the background. And that's not to disparage the people who worked on it, because I don't think that's actually the case. That's just how it comes across reading it now in 2025. It feels like it's there because something else is going to happen afterwards, and they needed something to hold the pages for it.
Yeah, it's just... I think we could go on, but we'd just be repeating ourselves. It's a crushing disappointment because it's such glorious art and it's just wasted in service of a very poor story.
Yeah, it's such glorious art in the Warhammer Fantasy story about dwarves, which there's a lot there you could work with to make something. And it just isn't working.
Sadly, continuing the trend of Warhammer Fantasy being poorly served in this book for the most part.
Yeah.
So let's move on from there, because as we kind of said, we try not to kick things. It's important to critique and give our opinion, but I think just dogpiling on for the sake of dogpiling is not what this is about. So we'll just
let's get into something we enjoy. Let's talk about something good, because the Nurgle Complex is next. Script by Michael Brown, art by Simon Colby, letters by Gordon Robson, and it's just a story of a big old Nurgle demon.
Yeah, ranting, he's the chosen of Nurgle, I'm not cast with his putrid image, his disease is my disease, in which I revel, and in turn I give to the world in such bloated poxes. He rants and he's just throwing the arms about, and then, for I am Nurgle, Lord of Decay, and then the big shadow appears and the booming voice going, Decay! And he's like, what is this, a visitation from one of my fellow Chaos Gods? Such effrontery, do they not know who? And then you basically see there's an even bigger Nurgle demon who is just picking him up and is about to devour him. Yep.
Great Unclean One just eats him. It's 2 pages. It's freaking brilliant. It's funny, and I loved it. This is such wonderful. I am the chosen of Nurgle, for I am not cast in his putrid image. His disease is my disease, in which I revel, and in turn give to the world such bloated poxes. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And the payoff in 2 pages is that there's a bigger Great Unclean One who eats him. Perfect. Beautiful. 10 out of 10. No marks. No comments needed. No notes. It's awesome. And what makes it even better is that Simon Colby has based his Great Unclean One on Wayne England's art, and that's beautiful, and I'm happy as Larry. Love it.